Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for stopping by yet again to the channel. Today we're going to be tackling it'll be a two-part video. We're going to be tackling wheel hubs today. I'll show you exactly how to take them off and put them back on, your torque specs and everything like that. This video is sponsored by Kroil. I'm pleased to announce that they did hop on the channel. If you missed that in my last video, they hopped on the channel and sponsored the channel for a while. So I'm pleased to announce this video is sponsored by Kroil, and without them, you know, truly some of this stuff is a lot harder, and I have broken sockets on this type of install and taking it and disassembling. I will get into shortly in a little bit here later in the video on exactly how much time savings you can have when you have Kroil. A prime example is a message I got a guy from Instagram about up pipe bolts. It's something I didn't mention in the last video. It makes a huge difference for you guys time savings wise because you can use this product and you won't snap those bolts. I personally am a prime example of that, and I'll explain that later into this video. But first things first, let's go ahead and show you what we got for Eric's truck. So what we have here is DMAXStore XD Extreme Duty wheel hubs. It comes with a nice instruction pamphlet right here. It'll give you your exact torque specs that you need. Like I said, this comes with a 3-year warranty. I also got some new seals for it. Now in the second part of the video, which will be later in the day, we will be doing these. These are the upper and lower ball joints. I don't want to tackle these at the same time because I want to make sure I get you guys a real nice quality install video on your wheel hubs. So it is not that hard of a process. We will show you in-depth detail on how to do one side, and then you do the same exact process on the other side. I'll show you here in a little bit exactly why we're doing this, so you can kind of see exactly how to get ahead of the ball game before your ball joint gets really bad. But first things first, we're gonna go ahead and make sure we get our axle nut soaking as well as the spindle bolts back here. We want to do that before we go ahead and start taking this off so that it's a lot easier to take this axle nut off. Again, like I said in the previous video with Kroil, the real nice thing is you do not have to do any heating up with this. You just have to soak it real nice and good. And once you get it soaked, you let it sit for a little bit and you'll be able to take that nut off very, very easily. Before we can go ahead and get back to our rear spindle bolts to be able to get those soaking in Kroil, we're gonna have to take this tire off. You get your lugs off, and then we're gonna take the tire off, remove it, and you'll be able to get at those bolts to access that hub. So right here is one spindle bolt. Here's another spindle bolt. We're gonna go ahead and get that soaked in Kroil for right now. Then on the back side here is the third one, and the fourth one is up top there. Again, with the Kroil product, if you don't know about it, I would highly suggest you get some. This stuff is the absolute best penetrant oil you can get on anywhere out there. You can't get it just from your local hardware store. You need to get it from your local dealer. So I'll make sure I'll leave Kroil's link in the description below for their website, so you can go ahead and search what local dealers are local to you. I do believe you can get it off Amazon, but do not quote me on that. I do wish I had some type of website that I could get to you guys, but right now you're just gonna have to go on their website and look for your local dealers. We're gonna go ahead and take the whole caliper assembly off. We're gonna take some wire, we're gonna hang it on the side here so that way you don't break your brake line. All right, so the first step here to take these caliper bolts off, this is gonna be an 18 millimeter. Be right here if you can see that. We're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna show you just right now how easy Kroil makes this for me. I don't have to use my impact, which as much as we all like to be using our impacts like to ruin a lot of stuff. All right, so now that you got these caliper bolts loosened up, you're gonna have to take this little bolt off here, which is a 10 millimeter, and you're also gonna have to take your first clip of the wheel speed sensor off, so that way you can move this caliper around. Actually, it'll probably be easier just to take the whole thing off. Up in here, you kind of have this little clip here. This is your wheel speed sensor. You're gonna disconnect it just like that. You're gonna take a little plastic pry tool to get it out. You got another clip over here, just like that. And then you got one more down here. And that way your wheel speed sensor is all the way out of the way, and you don't have to worry about it for your caliper to move your caliper around. Now, like I said, this is a 10 millimeter bolt. You're gonna go ahead and get this taken off. Now, anytime you take any type of bolt out, you take it apart, make sure you guys keep a good track of it for when you're doing any type of work on your truck so that you don't lose these, because sometimes these little bolts like this tend to get lost. Now all you have to do is kind of pry up on this and it'll pry out for you just like that. And now you can go ahead and move your caliper, swing it around. I'm gonna swing it up and around and over here and probably hang it over here just because you don't risk damaging your brake line right here. All right, so I messed up. I'm so used to doing brake jobs, brake pads, that I showed you guys the wrong one, and I'll show you guys right now. So what I showed you was the way to take off right here. This 18 millimeter is how you take this off to get to your brake pads. You need to take this one off right here. This is your caliper bolts. There's one up here, and then there's one right down here. These are a 21 millimeter. I got my breaker bar out here with my 21 millimeter. I'm gonna show you exactly how easy this is. I'm gonna put the camera down. There All right, so this is how I've got my caliper hung. I've got this rubber brake hose here, obviously nice and loose, so that way there's no tension on this. This is typically what you don't want to rip. These I'm not a big fan of. I'll talk about that in the near future. But for right now, we've got it all the way, and this is what we need to do. So next step is you just gotta take this nice, loose, loosey-goosey brake rotor off. All right, so the next step, we've got to get the big ugga-duggas out because we're going to go ahead and take the CV axle nut off. When we go to install, I'll make sure I get the exact torque spec that you need for this, as well as these brake caliper bolts, and as well as the spindle bolts. So, but first things first, we're going to get the ugga-duggas going, and we're going to get this off. This is a 36 millimeter. All right, so now that we got the axle nut off, you're also going to have this washer here. Like I said, when it comes to Kroil, you can't go wrong with it just because of the time savings I have. I didn't have to sit here and crank on it. My big ugga-duggas didn't really work that hard. When it came to these brake caliper bolts, you saw it in the video, I did not have to work nearly as hard as I have had to do in the past. My grandpa's been using it, my father's been using it, I've been using it our whole lives. It's a tried and true product. You cannot go wrong with it. I'm serious, you guys. Put down the other stuff and make sure you grab yourselves a can of Kroil. All right, so my next step is gonna be these back spindle bolts that I showed you before. I'm not even gonna try and use a breaker bar here first. We're gonna go ahead and just use a 15 millimeter with a standard socket and see if I can get it off. Okay, we're gonna use a breaker bar. We're gonna drop down to a 6 spline socket instead of a 12. That's what that previous one was. And with a breaker bar, I would think this would come off pretty simple for me. Oh yeah, easy peasy. The one thing I will say, you guys, when it comes to Kroil and the time savings, is it's a huge time savings and a part saver, because when you use an impact on some of the stuff, you really do risk twisting a bolt and snapping a bolt off. For instance, on the up pipes, when I did my up pipes on my truck, I did a 3-day process. I soaked my up pipe bolts in Kroil for 3 straight days, twice a day, and I didn't have a single one snap off, you guys. And for those of you know that have done that before, on the back of the turbo pedestal, on the manifolds, those are notorious for snapping off, and I didn't have a single issue with it at all. Like I said, if you guys don't have this product, you gotta get it. I truly believe in everything I use, versus when it comes to tools, when it comes to parts, oil additives, penetrant oil, anything I use, take pride in what I put on my truck and what I use for my truck and the exact product that I show for you guys. So I'm gonna go ahead, get these other bolts off here for you guys, and I'll see you in a little bit. All right, so the next step here is you're gonna have your dust cover, and this is gonna come off. This is for your brake calipers. This is your dust cover for your brakes. This is gonna come off with it. Make sure you guys save that because you do wanna reuse this. Some people take it off, but it does save a lot of gum and grime. But anyways, we're gonna take a pry bar and we're gonna start prying in between here to get this off of your CV axle. All right, so the one thing I want to comment on before we go ahead and move forward with the install of the new hubs, I want to see who here in this video can tell the difference by the end of the video, the difference on Eric's truck, because there is something that's going to change midway through the video that we are not filming and we are not doing for the channel, but we are doing it currently right now, so I want to see if you guys can spot that difference. Also, we're going to start filming now the next video, which is going to be the ball joints, so make sure you guys stay tuned for that in the future. You'll see that video here shortly. I don't think it'll be this month. It'll probably be in the new year because I am going on vacation to Arizona to visit my family for the week of Christmas and the week after, so bear with me on that. So I think that video will be up then, but since we've got the hub off now, we're going to go ahead and show you guys how to do those ball joints, and we'll do that in the future for you guys. So now that we have the wheel hub off, and we've got, like I said, we've got a future video that just happened in the process. We've got a ball joints. We did the uppers and lower ball joints, so make sure you said, like I said, stay tuned for that. But anyways, now that we got these off, unfortunately you can't hear it on here, but there is a slight grinding noise, and we don't like to mess around with our ball joints or wheel bearings because, man, some serious catastrophic failures can happen when you avoid doing your ball joints and your wheel bearings. So what we have here is we have DMAXStore extra duty, and man, these things are beautiful. It comes with a 3-year warranty. Even on the instructions, it simply states DMAXStore XD steering and suspension parts come with no questions asked 3-year unlimited mileage warranty to the original purchaser. Warranty period begins date of purchase. If a failure occurs, DMAXStore will replace the failed part only once it has been received at our facility. Shipping costs are not included under their warranty. This is very nice. They give you an install video. They give you the torque specs. Everything you need is right here on this little piece of paper. You just can't go wrong with a 3-year warranty. I understand kryptonite wheel bearings come with, or hubs come with a, you know, lifetime warranty, but you know what? For the price you pay for this DMAXStore ones, the quality that they are, you just can't beat it. I mean, honestly, it's just as good as a Timken bearing and hub, if not better. So we're gonna go ahead, reverse the process, get these installed, and show you exactly step by step the reverse process, and let's finish up this video. When it comes to these bolts, you're gonna go ahead and make sure you get your thread locker on there properly. How do you like me tackling you bent over? But anyways, I don't know if you guys know how to apply thread locker. There's actually a way to do it, a proper way and an improper way to apply thread locker. Believe it or not, that's actually a real thing. So there is a proper way and improper way, like I said, to apply thread locker when you're going through a through bolt and when you're going through a section where you don't have a through bolt, basically. Loctite actually has a really good video on that. Just go ahead and Google that because it's really important to know. I use thread locker a lot at work. I use it, you know, here on my trucks, on other people's trucks. It's a very important thing. So that basically what you do is when you're simply just applying thread locker to something like this, when it's just a spindle bolt, you're simply just going to apply a little dabble of it on the threads. A lot of people actually coat the whole thing, and you don't want to do that because you can actually apply too much thread locker because, man, you're going to hurt yourself in the future. But I'm going to set that one aside right now. Importantly, you want to make sure your grooves line up when you're installing this. It's actually quite simple. You'll kind of just get a feel for it. And then you'll just basically push it in. There you go, like that. Now my first bolt with my thread locker, I'm gonna go ahead and get that started, get it threaded in just so I can get my other bolts on. And the cool thing about thread locker is when you do install it, the reason why you only put a little dab on there is because the threads will do the work for you. You don't have to apply an absolute ton of it for the thread locker to work properly. It will do it itself. So like I said, I can't emphasize it enough. Because you know what? Say these wheel bearings don't last you that long and you have to get them replaced, which again, if it's under the 3 years, DMAXStore will replace them for you. You don't want to have to be the one to have to take that off, because man, that is gonna suck. Once I get these tightened down, you'll see me again so I can tell you guys the torque spec. All right, so the rear spindle bolts, those are 133 foot-pounds. Our next step is gonna be taking the speed sensor and getting that hooked up the exact same way you took it apart. We're gonna leave this part out for right now because that's gonna go into that bracket that's got a bolt up right here. But first we're gonna go ahead and get it pushed in there. Slip that out. Pushed in back here. And then now once you get it all put back together, you can see it down here. Snap her together, find its home and push it down, just like that. Again, like I said, we're gonna wait on this to get this pushed in just because it needs this little bracket down over here. But right now we're gonna go ahead, get the rotor on and the caliper mounted back up. All right, and a little trick here with the rotor is we put some anti-seize along the wheel hub, so that way when you go to take that off, this off in the future for us people in the Rust Belt, it's not gonna be so hard. We're gonna go ahead and undo our caliper. Make sure you are supporting this properly. And once you get these on, these are gonna be torqued at 221 foot-pounds. That's what it is, yeah, 221 foot-pounds. That is what you're gonna want to torque these down. So once I get these done and torqued down, I'll see you guys in a little bit. Our next step is gonna be getting the bracket put back on. Again, this is a nice little 10mm bolt. Once you get this on, you can finish clipping down your wheel speed sensor, and we will then move forward to the axle nut. All right, so we're gonna put some blue thread locker on there. This is gonna be now our axle nut. This is gonna be 177 foot-pounds, and I'm actually going to torque this once the truck is on the ground just to make life a little bit easier. All right, so we're gonna go ahead, do the other side. I'm not gonna show you exactly step by step how to do the other side because all you have to do is repeat these steps that we just did here to be able to get that side done. It's very simple. It's really not that hard, a little time consuming. I personally did my truck in my driveway about 3 summers ago, and it really wasn't that bad. I think by myself, with the proper tools, I think I did both sides in about 1.5 hours, 2 hours. So it's not that bad. So as long as you have the proper tools, you can get this done for sure. We'll get the other side done and we'll see you in a little bit. And maybe, just maybe, somebody can spot what's changed on Eric's truck. All right, so I just want to let you guys know we opted to not go with this seal that we did order to go with to go to the inside of the steering knuckle because the one that was in there was in perfect condition, but we did order these just in case because you never know when you're taking stuff out, what it's gonna look like, what those seals and those gaskets are actually gonna look like when you do it. But that being said, Eric here is absolutely excited. I'm excited. We got his ball joints done. You'll see that in a future video, so stay tuned for that. We got those wheel hubs done. It was an absolute must thing because when your wheel bearings are going out, a lot of bad things can happen. So make sure you guys keep up with your maintenance on these vehicles. Make sure you keep an eye on your tire rods. Make sure you keep an eye on your ball joints, your wheel bearings. Listen for those noises you're not used to hearing, because that's exactly what Eric did when he heard his wheel bearing going out. Once again, thank you to Kroil for hopping on the channel and supporting today's video by sponsoring it. I couldn't thank them enough. Without them, a lot of things in my life would be a lot harder for years of my life, my entire life. So thank you again to Kroil for sponsoring the channel and for the future to come with them. Make sure you go ahead and hit that like button and hit that subscribe button. If you're already subscribed, please hit that bell button so you get those notifications. Make sure you guys stay tuned for the giveaway announcement. I am running a giveaway on my Instagram for our 500 subscriber amount. It is a Harbor Freight gold ratchet, 24 karat plated, 3/8, 90 tooth drive. It's a quality ratchet nonetheless, and there is a surprise gift for that winner that will be announced Christmas Eve morning. So make sure you guys stay tuned for that. I'm excited for that. So have yourselves a great weekend. Have yourselves a great Christmas. I've got vacation coming up here, so bear with me through that. I'll be down in Arizona. You'll see that on my Instagram. Have yourselves a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and we'll see you soon.